New tool time, and it's a bandsaw. I've been without a bandsaw for nearly a year now. And what I've gone for is an Axminster Professional AP2552B. So in the old workshop I had two bandsaws. I had an Axminster Craft one which I really liked. I did a video about it, so I put a link above and below to that. And I also had this old cast iron one which I restored. Now it was great having the two bandsaws, but what I realised is I really don't have the space. So what I wanted was one kind of in between the two size wise, and just to go down to the one machine. So I've had a read of the manual, and the first job is to get the base put together. It looks pretty simple. It's just 4 bits that need bolting together with these bolts, nuts and washers. So, full disclosure, I contacted Axminster about this machine, and they've given me a discount in exchange for producing these videos. But that's where the obligation ends, and I will give my honest opinion on it. Now, with the stand put together, the next job is to get the saw actually put on top of it. Now, you really need a friend for this, but I don't have any. So, I got it up on my little table and then managed to manoeuvre it on top. But this thing has got some serious weight to it, which is a good thing, but makes it harder to put together. That wasn't too bad. The bandsaw itself now needs bolting to the stand. Got these dome-headed bolts. They just go through, and then a nut on the other side and tightens up. The saw has 2 switches, one at the top and one more knee height. And this one has a couple of holes that it needs to be bolted into, but first you need to take the cover off, then the bolts can go through and be tightened up. I think having the added knee height MVR switch is a nice safety feature. This also has a key in it so you can lock it to stop other people using the machine. Now to get the cast iron table installed. Now you can do it with the blade in, but I've got some extra blades for this, so I was going to swap it out anyway. So I'm going to take this off. So the first job is to loosen the tension and then it can be removed. As you can see, the 2 doors are joined together on this, so that's really nice and makes it easier to open everything up. The table can then be lifted into place, the bolts go through the trunnion, and then a couple of star knobs lock it in place. Then this bolt gets installed, and this is for levelling the table, so you get it set perfectly to 90 and then you can always get it back to the same position. Now to get a blade back in it, but before I do that, I'm going to clean the grease off this table. Now to get a blade fitted, I'm going to go for a resawing one because I think that's the best test of a bandsaw. So I can get it put in place and then adjust the tracking so it sits centre on the wheel. Then I can get the tension applied. The blade goes through the side of the table as opposed to the front, which is on some bandsaws, and on those ones you have to remove the fence every time you change the blade, so I much prefer this system. I get the blade tracked to the centre of the tyre and then I can get the tension applied. The bearings can now be adjusted, and you just need to loosen these little thumb screws and then you can wind them in and out to micro adjust them. It's a very nice system. The sideways adjustment is on a cam, so you just twist them until they're in position and then they can be locked into place. Again, really simple to do. The bottom guide bearings are much easier to adjust than on any bandsaw I've had before. Now for the fence, I start with the rail, so this just gets lined up with a couple of holes on the front and goes on with a couple of bolts and washers. There's a rear guide portion to the fence, so that goes on the back of the table with a couple of Allen headed bolts. This is a big, heavy cast iron fence which can now go into place, and the back of it has a little screw that rests on the rear fence. Now the handle, the cam action, can be screwed in and tightened down. So the fence has a two-position auxiliary fence, but first this bolt needs to go through and tightened onto this little washer. The auxiliary fence can then be slid on, and you can see it can either go in this high position for resawing or lower for ripping thinner pieces. I have a bandsaw buddy which magnetically attaches to the blade so you can see the direction the cut's going to go into, and then I can use that to align the fence. There's just 4 Allen-headed bolts that need loosening to do this. I'll put a link down below to the bandsaw buddy. Obviously as well, this bandsaw and the blade I've stuck in it. So I've gone through the manual, finished the setup, made sure everything's square and adjusted that bolt so when I change the table angle it always goes back to 90. So now I can make a test cut, so I think we're going to try ripping some 4x2. I get the bearing guides lowered to just above the workpiece, get the fence set, and then I can make the cut. So first cut done, and look at that, almost like veneer, just out of a bit of 2x4. Probably could have gone thinner, but I wasn't being too ambitious with the first cut, but that worked great. It's really quiet, it's the quietest bandsaw I've ever had. In fact, it's always hard to tell on film, but it's really smooth running. Something I didn't show, it does come with a mitre gauge, which seems a nice cast, quite good quality one. I mean, not amazing, but I've never had an amazingly good one with a saw, but this is pretty good. What else to say? Wow. So I've had a couple of the Axminster craft machines before, been really happy with both of them, but this is definitely a step up in quality. Costs more money, obviously, and I probably could have got away with the craft one, but this is a beautifully made machine, and I have to say I could imagine having this machine for the rest of my life, so I'm seeing it as an investment. So really pleased with it so far, but I don't really like to give you my impressions until I've used it for a while, so I'm going to use it for a couple of months and then I'll do a full review, and I'm actually going to use it in next week's project and a lot of upcoming projects. So thank you for watching, thank you to Axminster, thank you to my patrons, and please subscribe for more videos.